What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Jackson Prince, hooper, content creator, podcaster, business owner, and everything in between. Jack of all trades is what they call me. And man, today we are going to be talking about NIL, which is one of my absolute favorite topics. We're going to talk about how you can make money in NIL, how you can be a successful content creator, and do all of the things that you love doing without even having to leave your bedroom. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so before we go ahead and get started with the do's and the don'ts and everything else about how you're actually supposed to execute this stuff, let's just get a couple things straight. I want you guys to have a lot of fun in this. I want you guys to make a lot of money, but I also want you to have some realistic expectations, especially if you're a high school player or you're just getting started in college. There's some things that you need to know about NIL. So I'm going to go ahead and give you 3 facts that I have learned after a full year playing collegiate basketball. Fact number 1 is just because you are at a Power 5 school does not mean that you're going to get NIL. And just because you're at a junior college does not mean that you're not going to get NIL. Look, this last year, I was a walk-on at the University of Texas playing with the men's basketball team, and I didn't get NIL that came directly from the school. All of the NIL money that I got was through brand deals and partnerships that I had to create with the content that I made all on my own. And I didn't really get any help from the University of Texas. Now, I was a walk-on. I was 15th, 16th man on the roster, and the only guys who were really making a ton of money were that starting 5 and then a couple guys off the bench. But if you're on the lower end of that roster, don't expect that you're going to be making 5 and 6 figures on NIL, because you're not. Also, I know plenty of Division II hoopers. I know plenty of JuCo hoopers who make 6 figures in this NIL and personal branding space, all because of the content that they create, how personable they are, how marketable they are. There's a lot that goes into it. So don't think that just because you go to this school or that school means that you will or won't get NIL money, because you can be successful no matter what situation you're in. Fact number 2, NIL is now a $2 billion industry. There's enough money for everyone to get their own. So either eat or get away from the table. Fact number 3, you can make a ton of money in NIL without even having a huge following. You don't need a K by your name to go ahead and make 5 figures in NIL. I personally know people who have done it. All of that is to say is that whether you are a end of the bench guy at a Power 5 or if you're a freshman starting your first year at junior college, you can make significant money in NIL. This is for guys and girls alike. So let's go ahead and talk about the 5 steps that I personally used to make 5 figures in NIL this past school year. Step number 1, download social media. Look, if you're watching this video, you probably have social media. If you don't have social media, this is probably the first time that you've ever seen my face. 99% of guys my age have social media. If you don't, I don't even know what you're doing. Step number 2, sign up for various NIL marketplaces like Open Doors, Influencer, or Open Sponsorship. Those 3 are some of my favorites. And once you go ahead and download those, create a profile. Now, in creating this profile, you're going to be asked what school you go to, what sport you play, and a bunch of different other questions about yourself. You might have to throw in some descriptions. It doesn't have to be perfect on the first attempt. You can always go back and edit this stuff later, but just go ahead and put some general information about yourself and then explore these apps. Figure out what kind of deals you can get on there, what partnerships they have, how much these partnerships are paying. Just start playing with the apps and seeing what you can find. And hey, if you're feeling brave, go ahead and apply for a few deals just to get some under your belt. Step number 3, and this is by far the most important step, you have to start creating content. Now, this content doesn't have to be like how I'm doing right now, sitting in front of a camera and doing all this stuff. What you can do is make content about you can make content about your sport, and you make content that's relatable to the audience that already follows you. And on top of that, don't be afraid to make content about your interests. If you are a volleyball player who likes to cook, why not make a bunch of cooking videos? Personally, I have a friend who makes videos, and they're all just mukbang videos. And you guys already know, because you've seen them on TikTok, you've seen them on Instagram Reels, those videos go insane, but they're all just mukbangs, and she's just talking about her life as a Division I college basketball player while eating a bunch of crawfish. It doesn't have to be all perfect, set up with a microphone and a really nice camera and all this other stuff. It can just be you. Be as authentic as possible. That's my number 1 advice when creating content. Step number 4, once you start creating content and you get a little bit of an audience, what you're going to want to do is start reaching out to brands. Now, when you start texting these brands, it's probably going to be through DMs or it's going to be through emails. You can't just go and say whatever to these brands. You have to have a formula. So what I've decided to do was create a template. I want you guys to play with this. I want you guys to make it 100% authentically you, because at the end of the day, I'm not reaching out to these brands for you. You're reaching out to these brands for you. And it should sound exactly like you. Me, I'm very upfront. I'm professional. I like to provide data, which is why I have all of that stuff in my template. Also, you're probably not going to get a lot of responses at first, and that's totally okay. Just keep sending them out. Look, when I was first starting, I was sending 50 to 100 DMs and emails to different brands every single week. And I would hit up multiple people in the same organization just to try to get a singular brand deal. That's how you guys were able to see me get deals like Proactive, deals like True Classic, KFC, some of these really big name brands that a lot of other athletes don't get to do, but you guys didn't see the work that I had to put in to actually get those deals. It was hours and hours and hours of researching people and hitting those people up just to try to get the opportunity. And lastly, step number 5. Once you get these brand deals, what you're going to want to do is create what's called an NIL media kit. You're going to take this media kit and you're going to send it to future brands that you want to work with later down the line. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what is an NIL media kit? Essentially, all it is a little bit about you, the type of engagement that you get, who your followers are, why they follow you, and then you want to have all of your highest performing or all of your favorite NIL posts in that media kit. You want to have it with easily accessible links that people can look at and immediately go to the source that you're referring to, so that way they can see if you're really about it. Now, the videos that you include in your NIL media kit don't all have to be 1 million views and 650,000 views. As a matter of fact, they shouldn't be that. You should include the best content that you made, whether it was really high performing or not. Obviously, you're going to want to include some higher performing videos, but if you have a video that you really, really like, but it only got 3,000 to 4,000 views, go ahead and throw that in there. Brands want to see the range so that way they can get an accurate depiction of what their average view count will be after partnering with you. Also, and I cannot stress this enough, early in the game, most of your NIL deals will be product only. Let me say this again. It will be product only, meaning that people are not going to pay you up front to create a video. All they're going to do is say, hey, here's some free product. If you want to create a video, we would really appreciate it. Guys, this is where you make the money in the future. Take that product, make a bunch of videos on it, pick the best 1 or 2 videos, and go ahead and post them. And tag the brand, invite them to collaborate on the post with you. And then eventually, that brand is going to see, hey, this person made some really interesting content. They made some really good stuff. Now, let's go ahead and pay them to do what they were already doing for free. This is how you build real relationships with brands. And this is how you get them to trust you. This is how you get them to pay you. Go ahead and do it. Also, these product-only deals may actually end up being some of your best work. So go ahead and include them in your NIL media kit, especially if you're just starting out. You want as many videos in that kit as you can possibly get. So those are the quick 5 steps. I know I kind of explained a lot there, but it's imperative, guys. Just listen, take my advice. I've done all of this work for you, and I've condensed it down only into 5 steps that took me hundreds of hours to perfect. I promise you, if you do those 5 steps, you'll find some success. All in all, there's lots of different ways to go about NIL, and everyone's path is going to look different. But I promise you, if you take the advice that I give you in this video, you reach out to me, you reach out to my peers, you can easily make 5 figures in a single year as a collegiate athlete off of NIL. Look, there's lots of different ways for you to get paid. You can go to events, you can sell merchandise, you can create content and get paid off of that content. You can create content for brands like what I do. There's a lot of different ways to get paid off of this, but these same tips and this same advice have the potential to make you a lot of money one day. So go ahead and just focus on these things if that's what you're interested in doing. And if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. My DMs are always open, and I'll hit you back with a response. With all of that being said, I hope you guys take the lessons that I taught you in this video. I hope you guys hit me up and ask me questions so that way I can answer them. I hope you guys have a lot of fun making the content that you're going to make. I hope you guys make a ton of money in NIL because it's only going to get bigger. It's not going anywhere. So go ahead, meet me at the table, get your slice of pie. And with all of that being said, whether you're on the court or you're on the sideline, go with God and always do your best. Peace.